that on the 3rd of June 2025, the leadership of UMkhonto Wesizwe, after national officials meeting, announced the discontinuation of my role as the Secretary General of UMkhonto Wesizwe. And when the appointment or the announcement was made, there was an indication that will be redeployed to the National Assembly to form part of the parliamentary caucus of UMkhonto Wesizwe. The principle established in the public announcement was that no leader and no member of UMkhonto Wesizwe should speak about the reasons why the decision was taken. But it appears that there are those who are talking freely and in most instances almost distorting just what transpired. So, as a disciplined member of UMkhonto Wesizwe, I want to put on record as to what were the reasons that were given in the national officials for my redeployment. The reason given in the national officials for my redeployment or removal as Secretary General was that I want to overthrow President Zuma as the president of UMkhonto Wesizwe. That is what was said. That all the work that we were doing as Secretary General of establishing structures and identifying leaders was meant ultimately at the removal of President Zuma as president of UMkhonto Wesizwe. And as part of that reasoning, an extremely bizarre and fake intelligence report was produced, which was claimed to be a conversation between me and some people in the African continent, where it is alleged that despite raising money to remove President Zuma, I'm also accumulating supernatural powers to make people disappear. That is the reason why we had to deal with superstitious issues as the basis of what happens, that there's apparently a head which I was going to be given to give to someone, and some people were going to die so that I can become president of UMkhonto Wesizwe. That was the intelligence report which were rejected with contempt and said that that is absolute rubbish, and said that if anyone claims to have my WhatsApp conversations, I can hand over my phone. I even offered in the meeting that take my phone and check not only the messages that you claim were about the removal of President Zuma, also check any other message about anything that I communicate as a leader of UMkhonto Wesizwe. Because there's a principle which I always uphold, that there is nothing that I do privately that I cannot own up publicly. Nothing, including personal relations. There's nothing that I will ever do privately which we cannot own up publicly. And we accepted the redeployment to parliament with those misgivings that we're going to make people disappear in order to take over the leadership of UMkhonto Wesizwe. And in a subsequent meeting post that, another fake report was presented which claims to be WhatsApp conversations between me and someone else, where I'm reported to be saying that, I'm going to use parliament now to take over the party. And I've got money from Stellenbosch who are going to take over the party through parliament. They are taking me closer to where we're going to take power. And as a result, a decision was taken which was not yet communicated, that even this thing of parliament must not happen. In fact, the former Secretary General, which is myself, must be expelled from the organization. A letter was written and was put in the briefcase of the president, who said that he's going to dispatch it as and when he feels like to discontinue my membership of UMkhonto Wesizwe. Those are actual facts in terms of the reason. And where does this come from? So the president of UMkhonto Wesizwe, whom I dearly and so deeply respect, is surrounded by political scoundrels who opportunistically use his kindness, sometimes gullibility that comes with age, to write down fake intelligence report to influence him towards wrong directions. And the reason they do that is because they want to steal money from UMkhonto Wesizwe. And they are doing so now. Withdrawal of not less than 7 million rand every month from the organizational coffers. That is what define, and that is what, and we're talking about this because we raised it internally that stop what you are doing, because you're going to get the party deregistered as a political party, because there's no sound reason on what has been happening, and it's things that we can prove beyond any reasonable doubt, not because it's things that you can change, and it's things that you cannot fake. And for that reason, when we raise every TG who has ever raised that got to be removed as the leadership of UMkhonto Wesizwe. And there's no TG who has resigned as UMkhonto Wesizwe. All of them were removed to then deal with scoundrels who surround President Zuma to steal money of the organization. I carried my responsibilities as a leader of UMkhonto Wesizwe with utmost respect and respected everyone. Led with the collective the process of drafting the constitution and other foundational documents of the organization. Set up structures as part of a collective effort. Got to institutionalize the MK Women's League, the Youth League, the Students' Movement, the MK Interreligious Movement, which in the past used to exist as separate organizations of the South African Interfaith Religious Council, MK Religious Desk, Abela Piben Dabuko, and various other organizations, interfaith, and then we got to unite them to have one organization. We got to even have to formalize the relations between UMkhonto Wesizwe and the Progressive Civic Congress, and formalize the relationship with MK and MK professionals and MK medics. So there's a lot of commendable work which was done by MK medics, a group of medical doctors and health practitioners who were going to communities to offer healthcare services. And in the process of doing that, every day, the political scoundrels work endlessly to speak negatively about the work that we're doing. I said it in the national officials meeting, because we can't hold that meeting in private, even when people are talking now, that in December 2024, there was a statement written to remove me as a Secretary General on the basis that I'm about to announce a political party with Tokyo Zihwale and Lindo Sisulu, whom I have never spoken to about anything. Draft statement, and was even shared with me that remove him today because he is going to form a political party. And that is full-time work that is dedicated on everything that you do. When you sit down, it's a problem. When you stand up, it's a problem. When you go out, it's a problem. When you come in, it's a problem every day. Because those who surround him have got evil intentions in terms of what got to happen. I've got tremendous respect for President Zuma. I think that in the few close working relationship that we've got to maintain and work with now, I think I've learned more in the 6 months than I learned in the 10 years I was Deputy President of UMkhonto Wesizwe, of the EFF. I learned more as a member of UMkhonto Wesizwe than I learned as a Deputy President of the EFF. In terms of real politics and appreciation of both the domestic and the global politics much more thoroughly in terms of the issues. And under no circumstances would I ever fault President Zuma and his politics. I joined UMkhonto Wesizwe because I thought that as part of the political historiography of South Africa, his politics and character should be protected, and a legacy built around his proper politics, not the ones of gullibility and producing of fake intelligence report. The Since the decision to remove ourselves as Secretary General took place, there have been a lot of ordinary South Africans from all corners of the country. There have been a lot of comrades who came from UMkhonto Wesizwe, from the ANC, from the EFF, to say, what then do we do moving forward? Because I did explain to them what were the developments. And a substantial number of those said that don't ever try to join the ANC, and I fully agree with them. That will never join the ANC. It's directionless. It doesn't know what it's doing. It's in collaboration with the white system now. And there are those who said, don't ever join or rejoin the economic freedom fighters because it's a cult. And I agree with them. There is no space for sound ideological reasoning, and there's no self-respecting person who can join both the ANC and the EFF. I agree with that fully.